What is going on, Sabres fans, and welcome to another episode of Sabres Spotlight, where we shine a light on all things Sabres hockey. Ryan, what's going on?
Well, guys, we're in the dog days of summer, kind of. We got Stanley Cup playoffs on my TV right now, the Western Conference Final. But besides that, we're just giving you a little content this week, just because I just love talking about the Buffalo Sabres.
Dude, you know what? Last week, I don't know if you did this on purpose, but last week you mentioned how in the intro we always do our little head bob thing.
Yep.
Did you see me going crazy?
I
Just
no, I was watching the game.
all right, so I was going crazy, and you were just stoned. You weren't moving this week, and I was like, maybe he's doing that on purpose. I
I
was doing
was
my
I
head.
was trying. You ever see those TikToks where they're like, try not to headbang, and it's like the best bangers you've ever heard, and it's like, or try not to sing, and it's impossible. That was me during
Yeah,
our intro.
yeah. All right, I got you. Yeah, yeah. So, but you're watching the game right now. You got the
Yeah, I
downtime.
got to it. The people that are watching on video form, I'm feeling lazy today, so I got my setup on my couch. I got the game on my TV. I'm a
You look
comfy boy.
official though, dude. You got the
I'm
watch on. Are you wearing a polo right now?
no, it's a dry fit shirt. It's a dry fit shirt.
Looks like a polo.
Uh,
I'm like, damn, this guy's coming ready tonight.
I fucking dressed up for the occasion. Have you ever seen? Me and Lexi used to watch this kid's videos. Oh my God, his name is Report of the Week. Have you ever seen his videos on YouTube? Well,
No.
he reviews food, and it's like this young kid, but he dresses up in like a suit and like a suit for it. It's hysterical.
He's like a little kid, or he's like a
No,
teenager.
he's in his 20s for sure.
Oh, okay.
But
All
he
right.
like plays into a character, and he like will try out the new BK item and like dress up in a fucking suit.
Yeah, yeah. Nice. That's
That's
cool.
me
That's
right
cool.
now, looking nice.
Well, before we come at you with the Sabres talk, we're gonna do a little Memorial Day informative little session here before we start. Memorial
Yeah,
Day
we're
is of course
we're
on
Saber
Monday.
Spotlight meets History Daily.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah, History Daily shout out. Let's go. But so Memorial Day is on Monday. Shout out to everybody who's going camping. Memorial Day typically marks the beginning of summer, and it certainly feels like summer's finally here, which is cool.
It's
So
it's Memorial Day. Shout out the campers and not the people who have died for our country.
well, I was getting to them, but I wanted to I wanted to shout out the campers there, but yeah. So because the history lesson accompanies the folks that died, but yeah. So of course, thanks to all the troops. Obviously, Memorial Day is an honor to the men and women who gave their lives serving the U.S. military, defending our freedom. So as much as it's a celebration for some in the beginning of summer and a day off and all those things. It's a day to remember for a lot of people and a good remembrance of why we live in this awesome country and have a lot of the freedoms that we do because of the those who fought for us and gave up some things and went through some shit that we only dream about. So thank you to all the men and women. And originally, Memorial Day was known as Decoration Day. And just a little backstory here. So on May 5th, 1868, so we're taking it way back, General John Logan, leader for an organization for the Northern Civil War veterans, called for a nationwide day of remembrance for people to decorate the graves of comrades who died in defense of the country. And then on the first Decoration Day, General James Garfield made a speech at Arlington National Cemetery where 5,000 participants decorated the graves of the 20,000 soldiers that were buried there. So that's pretty cool. Have you ever been to Washington D.C. and Arlington Cemetery and seen like the monuments stuff?
I'm pretty sure this is so funny. Isn't Arlington National Cemetery in Texas?
I don't think so. No, I
Yes,
think
it
it.
is.
What's the cemetery
No,
in
it's in Virginia.
Washington?
It's in Virginia. It's in Virginia. So you're correct. Okay. There are two Arlingtons. So, no, I have never been to like Washington or the Virginia area. I would love to go. It would be pretty cool. I'm like a history person. It's cool. I love like learning stuff, about our past and but no, I feel like that would really like fuck me up emotionally probably to see all that. But No, I'd honestly love to go and just honor the fallen soldiers and stuff.
I was there. We went for our eighth grade field trip. So this was however long ago, but we went did our Washington D.C. trip and Arlington cemetery and all those things, and it's all that stuff is very cool. I remember even at the cemetery, like it didn't necessarily feel like somber. It's because it's very nice. Like the headstones are all like very like obviously kept, well kept, and it's very clean and things. So it did in a way feel like kind of like a celebration, as weird as that sounds, I guess. It was just like people were there just honoring and whatnot, but it was a cool place to see, and certainly humbling at the same time. But Memorial Day became an official holiday in 1971, and so yeah, as we said before, now everyone kind of sees it as the beginning of the summer. So that is the like you said, the dog days of hockey now. But we got some good stuff coming our way today. So the concept for today is going to be kind of like a state of the roster. We haven't really talked too much about. I mean, we've done our season reflections, but we haven't talked too much yet about like where we currently stand as far as the Sabres roster and what we're kind of hoping Kevin Adams does this off season. Hopefully more than last season for sure, but we'll get into the roster here before we get too far into some of the options that Kevin Adams has. But any thoughts initially as you look at like the Sabres roster and kind of like what they have and where we should be going with things?
Well, we've got about 23 million in cap space. We've got 8 forwards signed and 5 defensemen signed. There's room here. There's room here to make, a major move. There's room here to add a third line center, another defenseman, a top six forward. And we got a couple deals that are, starting this year, and we're going to have to pay Jack Quinn and JJ Paterka uh, maybe as soon as next season. So that $23 million, even with the cap going up, could be eaten up very quickly. And
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
as we've seen in, the last 3, 4 seasons, the Sabres haven't necessarily been a spend to the cap team, and that's one thing I'd like to see change as soon as this offseason.
Yeah, so if we look at like the forward group here, do you think the eight that we currently have in our contract, Skinner, Thompson, Tuck, Cousins, Greenway, Benson, Quinn, Paterka, do you see them pretty much as locks? Obviously, a lot, but do you see any surprises there? Do you see anybody, any trades coming there, or we can pretty much write them in pen right now?
Yes, except I am one of the people that are open to a Jeff Skinner buyout.
Yeah.
I, I People always say like, oh, try doing it next year is when you really want to do it, but it really doesn't look that bad to me. Like I was messing around with it earlier, and his cap hit is like 2 million for this season, and then next season there's a big hit of 6 million, and then I think it's 4 more seasons of another $2 million cap hit for the rest of it. I don't really think that's that bad, man. I really don't. And although I love Jeff Skinner, I think I'm open to just not having him on the roster anymore. What do you think?
I mean, I'm certainly open to not having him on the roster anymore. I just don't. I guess I have a few thoughts here as it comes when it comes to Skinner, because first thing that comes to mind is like, could this be a good year for him, anyways? Because he kind of does that like good, bad, and I mean, he still
Right,
scored a
right.
decent amount of goals last year. I know he was injured for a little bit, but like we could just be kind of naturally heading towards like an up year for him. Also, like, do you think Lindy can help him? Like, because the struggle with him is like Skinner's going to score goals. Like if even if we came back with Granado next year and it was the same coach, like he's still going to score probably 20, 25 goals because he's good at it. So even with Lindy, he's going to score goals, and it might not change much there. But do you think, because if Lindy can help him with the other part of the game, or keep him accountable, then like I don't mind it. Like, not that Skinner's just gonna all of a sudden turn into like this great back checker, or like this amazing, game, whatever. But I don't know. I feel like if he stays, do you
Where
think Lindy can
where
help him
does he
out?
play? Where do you think he slots in if he's back? Which I mean, he's most likely back. Like, let's be real. I mean, I'm kind of just like spitballing here, but where is he in your lineup? Because we got JJ Paterka, who kind of proved that he should be the left wing number one on this roster, and
Yeah.
then you got a space next to presumably Cousins and Quinn. I'm not really sure that Jeff Skinner fits there, and I kind of want Zach Benson on my third line. So has this roster evolved past the need for Jeff Skinner to be on it? I'm really not sure.
I mean, that's a great point. Because then the other thing is, like, I mean, I agree with you. Like, is he more of like a third line guy? Like, yeah, and then it's like, well, shit, you're paying $9 million to a third line guy. Like, come on. Like,
Right.
would you rather just at that point? Would you rather just take the cap hit and kind of eat some money and see what happens? Like, I don't know. I mean, that's a good counterpoint. I mean, it's just interesting to think about, because there's a lot of options there. And if he goes down to the third line anyways, like if that's a better role for him and that's what Lindy's going to want to do, like does he necessarily have that production anyways? Like he's not going to be getting as many minutes, on the third line, and he can still be opportunistic. But if we bring in a couple guys, it's not a guarantee that he's necessarily getting power play time anymore either. Do we want him to even
Right.
have power play time? So yeah, I don't know. You might be onto something there. Like the roster may just be kind of moving on from him. I mean, when we signed him, it was because we needed to. I mean, we didn't have other guys, right? So
We
he
needed
was,
scoring.
yeah, and we needed scoring. So I think you're right. I mean, you're gonna have to give Paterka and Quinn, long term deals, or bridge deals, whatever they decide to do there. So you're gonna need money. Um, yeah, yeah. I don't know. He's kind of an enigma right now.
I just looked up his bio, like what would happen if the Sabres bought him out. This year we'd be hit with a it's I'm estimating here, like I'm rounding up. This year we'd be hit with a $1.5 million cap charge. Next year, the 25-26 season, it's a $4.5 million cap charge. The next season, the 26-27 season. Now keep in mind, the 26-27 season might be when the Buffalo Sabres are contending. But I will say we've seen teams contend with buyout cap charges on their books. Like look at
Hmm.
the Wild having Ryan Suter and Zach Parisi's charge on their books. Yes, it hampered them and it's massive and an outlier, but they were still making the playoffs. Um, Vancouver just went to the second round, Game 7 with Edmonton, and they have Oliver Ekman-Larsson's cap hit on their books. But with all that being said, this season is when you did accrue the $6.5 million cap charge, and then there's 3 more seasons of $2.5 million after that. Dude, I honestly don't think it's that bad. Now,
Well, who cares about this upcoming season? Like, it's not like
I
you're
know, I
you're
know.
contending window. I mean, again, like, can you maybe make the playoffs this upcoming season? Yes, but if you're gonna take 6.5 in any season, you want it to be next season.
Right. Well, it would be 25, it would be in the 26-27 season, which that's when our window of contention probably is. But this
Oh, so
all,
the 6.5 would come later.
yeah, 2 seasons from
Oh,
now.
okay, okay.
Next
So that
season's a
changes. Yeah,
1.5. Yeah, next
yeah,
season's a
yeah,
1.5. But I will say the cap's also going up. Like,
yeah,
who knows? The cap is probably close to $100 million in the year of 2026.
yeah,
So it really just mitigates that cost. But this is also to say that Jeff Skinner doesn't have any trade value around the league.
yeah.
Like,
I know.
are you going to have to pay a contract to get someone to take him? I don't know because I still think he's a good enough player on some team out there. So I think
Well,
there's options here. I think there's options here.
yeah. I wonder if I don't know how realistic though the option of moving him is, just because, I mean, if Terry didn't even want to like pay a coach to come in, like I know he wanted Lindy, but like if he was gonna skimp on like 2 million a year just for a coach, like I don't know, I just don't know if he's gonna is he gonna have this roster signed up to the cap, let alone pay a guy to not even be on our team. Like, and is it Kevin Adams going to be able to pull that deal off? I guess I have so many questions about them actually being able to make that move work and just not get like completely like, fleeced in a deal on it. So
Yeah,
I
I
don't know.
mean, honestly, I'm at the point where like if you traded Skinner and like a pick for like another pick, like Skinner and a fourth for a second, I'm like, see ya. Like even
Yeah.
if it's like no like half retention, because he's got what 3 years left. If you're only paying 4.5 million for the next 3 years, then it gets him off the books completely. Dude, I don't know. I'm just like I love Jeff. I'm just kind of like over his style on our team. Like I think it's kind of redundant at this point.
Yeah. Well, and the problem is the contract. Like if he wasn't making that, like if he was only making like 4 or like 5 or 6 million a year, like I, this conversation wouldn't even be as relevant. I'd be like, okay, whatever. Like, like,
If dude,
but
if
it's
he was making
because
that,
he's making
we could
nine.
realistically we could probably just scratch him sometimes if he
Yeah.
was playing that bad.
Yeah. 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 It just sucks. He just doesn't contribute in other ways. That's where I kind of like, I guess to wrap it up on him, like I kind of have my doubts on him moving, even though I think it could, be realistic, and I'm hoping that Lindy can just kind of, get a little bit more out of him, just to kind of make that a little bit more like digestible. If worst comes to worst and we're contending this year, like just throw him on LTIR late in the season, just bring him back for the playoffs.
Yep.
Like,
Throw him an LTIR, use that $9 million to bring in a stud the Vegas
yeah,
way.
yeah, exactly. Like I'm totally fine with that. Why not? I don't mind having a $9 million guy on my third line in the playoffs.
Oh, that also just, dude, we just don't spend to the goddamn cap. Like, it's insane how we've operated the last like 3 seasons. I think we've spent the second least total cap space out of all 32 teams behind like Arizona. It's like disgusting, dude.
Yeah.
I they need to like change that philosophy like immediately. And with the players that are existing, like the other, 7 guys you have here that are already under contract, this theoretically should be a good team.
Oh yeah, yeah,
They do need
yeah,
a
absolutely.
little bit more though. Like we're gonna get into like, what we should do like off roster wise and bringing in some guys later on in the off season as it gets closer to uh, the draft because there are tons of like hopeful trades and then free agency. But this is like the guys that we have here like signed. This is a good base for Kevin to work with.
Yeah, it is. I got a couple questions before we move on to the defenseman that I want to kind of pick your brain about too. I guess We can start with Benson. We don't got to spend a ton of time here, but um, do you think that he's like a lock for next season? Right? I mean,
Yeah, 100%.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
100%. There's
It's
zero
just
talk of him
crazy.
going back. It sucks that he has to go back to either junior or the NHL. Like that's dumb.
Yeah, I know. It's so weird because like it's just. I mean, we talked about with Levi, like him not being the exception to the rule, and I get it's not like Benson had this great statistical season, but we talked about on here he didn't not belong. Like he played good at times. He was one of our best players, and he's got a motor. So yeah, I think I mean you hear that out there a little bit, like oh, like is Benson just because he was here all year? Like is he necessarily like on the team next year? Like yeah, he's gonna
It would
be.
kind of be absurd to have the kid play the entire year here, score 30 points, which is really good for an 18-year-old, and then send it back to junior. Like,
Yeah.
he's got nothing else to learn. Like, he's here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then as far as what do you Quinn Quinn and Paterka, they're going to be RFAs after this year.
Yep.
What do you think is the future with them there? I mean, if you look at like Paterka, I mean, if he goes out and puts together another year like he did there, say he's, if he gets to that 30 number, I mean, then and what if Cousins has not necessarily another down year, but just a middling year or maybe a decent year where he scores like 25 goals, you got to imagine, Paterka is going to command a contract near him in the sevens, if not, maybe he even wants more.
Yeah, between JJ and Quinn, I think this year Paterka's going to play so well that you have to go long term with him.
Yep. Yep.
And like you said, in the 7 range. I mean, we'll see what he does. I actually, we're going to talk about it later, but he had a pretty good World Championships again, and he is the type where last year he was electric at the World Championships, and then parlayed that into a 28 goal season, and really became like an offensive driver.
Yeah.
So if the kid is leveling up, and with
He
with
is.
Jack, just he's going to take this year to prove that you can stay healthy. If you can stay
Yeah.
healthy, I don't think anything he can do this year gets him a long-term deal. I think he's going to be bridged like almost no matter what, just based on his injury history. But man, there's a player inside there, and that could be like a fucking bargain contract for us.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you, man. I like both of those kids so much, and that's where it's hard to like when you're trying to like put on your GM hat and be like, oh, like who can we move? Like these are a couple names now that like make
They're
sense to
locks.
move,
Yeah, these are like
but they also make sense to move. But you're like you don't want to move them like as
it
pieces
would
in a
it
deal. You
would
don't want
really
to.
hurt. You'd have to get something incredibly valuable to get me to want to move one of those two kids.
Yeah, I mean Quinn would be the one to move right now, like over Paterka. But as far as like, and as good as Paterka had as a season last year, I kind of do feel like Quinn's ceiling is like a little higher though, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, Jack Quinn has scored 50 goals at every single level he's played at. Well, besides, he didn't score 50 in the AHL, but he ultimately like his development is crazy because he was like a nothing prospect for like a couple years before his draft year, and then in his draft year he just like exploded. He scored 50 goals, he got drafted in the top 10, and then had a kind of a shit AHL, like the COVID year, and the AHL was weird, and then the next year he exploded. And then he comes to the NHL and he's good immediately with that kid line, and then this year just misses all that time with injury, and then he comes back and kind of looked like he didn't skip a beat. I, so this kid could just explode for like he could have like a 25 goal season, he could have a 45 goal season. Like honestly, I don't know. I just
Yeah,
need to see the kid be healthy.
yeah, yeah. And like and Cousins like not playing good unless Quinn is there. That gives him some more leverage. Be like, hey,
Yeah,
give me a couple more mil because you need your 7 million guy to produce with me on the
like
ice.
he's the key to unlocking Cousins. I strongly feel that way. Like if we're gonna play Dylan Cousins at center, he needs to be just like glued to Jack Quinn. Like I don't know
Yeah.
what it is about those two, but they just play so well together.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. All right, we got defense next. Anything else you want to talk about here before we move on to the defense core?
Well, since he's currently unsigned, you don't have Yoki Haru here. Is that why?
Yeah, just because he's an RFA,
Okay,
but I mean we could talk about it.
I'm saying it right now. He's being traded. Like there's no room for him on this roster anymore.
Yeah,
His play style is we don't need it. He kind of does like everything good and nothing well, if you know what I'm saying. Like
yeah,
he's
yeah,
kind of like okay, and we have the okay guy. We have the Connor Clifton. Like we need another stud.
yeah,
So that spot is open.
yeah,
But you have no idea how high I am on Owen Power, dude. Like I think that Darlene and Power are going to be paired together this year, and they're going to be just freakishly good together. So
yeah.
I'm excited about that. Do you think Bowen Byram can turn it around from how absolutely terrible he was for most of his stint here?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. I mean, it's as much as like he knew Cousins and Krebs. It's like it's still hard. It's to like come to a new team and learn a new system or like whatever the hell the Sabres were doing and you go from a Stanley Cup contender to coming to Buffalo. It's not like that's a place people want to go right now, so like I think adrenaline can get you by for a few games, which we saw, change of scenery and whatnot. It's kind of like the new coach bump, right? Like it's just, and I think that's probably what happened. And then he kind of settled in and realized, everything that went on. And that's shocking to a guy. So as much, I don't know, like, I don't think he was terrible last year. Like there, you saw glimpses and there's a lot of potential there. I guess we'll just see what happens this year. But I mean, I like him. I like the player. I like the skill set. You just have to I think we just got to find someone to just play with him. Like who's going to be with him right now? Like,
I know, dude. That's the spot. That's the Yoki spot, in my opinion.
yeah, yeah, and like I know like I know we both like Ryan Johnson, but like it's not like he's a lock to come up here next year. And he in Rochester this year, I mean, there's been games where he's looked a little shaky too. I want him up here. I thought he looked good with the Sabres, but is he going to be a second line pair defenseman? Probably not. So that's a spot right there that I think we need to find someone to play with him because right now that's the hole, right?
Yes. Do
At
you
least the
think?
hole on defense.
So this point that I'm about to bring up, like, kind of falls right into that. Do you think Lindy is going to properly give Samuelson the usage that he does? Like, not that he deserves, because I think that's calling him a bad player for putting him on a third pair. But I really think Matthias Samuelson can be a valuable defenseman on the third pair, penalty killer, along with Connor Clifton. I think that should be set in stone.
Yeah, I think I mean I love Samuelson on the penalty kill.
Yeah, like he's long, he's rangy, block, eats pucks. I know he like,
He eats pucks like crazy. Yeah,
his bones are brittle and he's always injured, but that guy does step in front of pucks. So it's like
yeah,
you kind of need that. And I was thinking about this earlier today too. His deal is long, but with the cap going up, the money is like almost minuscule for what he theoretically should provide.
yeah,
So I'm good with him. I'm ready to. I know we shit on him a lot last year because he was playing way too much and Darlene, like he was like Renato was obsessed with putting him on Darlene and it like wasn't working out. But
yeah,
I think with proper usage, he can be a good player.
yeah. No, I'm good with Samuelson. Like again, he's fine on the penalty kill, and if he's on the second line with Byram, if that's what it ends up being, that's fine. If he ends up being on the third line, like say with Clifton, I'm fine with that too. I also am hopeful that maybe Seth Appert coming up can be helpful to Byram and the whole power play structure in general. Like if I mean I don't know who's going to be running the top power play, if it's going to be Darlene and Power out there together, or if it's going to be Darlene and Byram. But like
Yeah, I definitely think we're gonna end up having 3D like on our power play units in one way or the other.
yeah, so I don't know. I think Appert joining Lindy, I guess I'm just very like I think that's a critical thought for me going into this season. It's just like some of the regression that we saw last year. I'm just kind of banking on Lindy like fixing some of that and just
Yeah.
being able and Byram. I mean Byram, he only had a couple months to be broken, by Don. So he's probably not as broken as some of these other guys. So
It just did not like the end. It just really leaves a bad taste in your mouth the way like last year ended. Actually, for like most of the year, it was almost comical. Like thinking about it now, like now that we're just like it's May, we're in the fucking conference finals, all this other shit. It's just it was comical how he played last year. Just joke at times. So I'm ready. I'm already excited for what the summer's gonna bring.
oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
We got to talk goalie for a second here.
Yeah, we're moving on from defense.
Yeah, because there's really not much else to say about the five guys we got here. I mean, they're all, I just think they're going to be slotted properly and used properly finally.
Yeah.
I also think that
I'm cool with
Lindy is
that.
going to motivate Darlene, especially with like, and Darlene's going to be like a Norris Trophy. He's finishing top three in the Norris Trophy next season. I'm calling my shot now. Clip this one. Clip this right now. Norris Trophy for Darlene, at least top three.
Yeah, I have no concerns about Darlene or Power at the top there. I think they're studs. I mean,
You know what's funny
Power's just
about
like
Power, dude? I gotta interrupt you for a second. You know what's funny about Power? So I'm kind of like I was bored at work today, so I'm kind of like watching World Championships clips a little bit. And Kevin actually on Twitter, NT Ryder pointed this out that every time he watches Canada, the announcers are like, "Boy, this Owen Power kid is so good, dude." It's so true. And then every time I like see a clip or I throw a game on because I find ways to just watch hockey games that might not be legal. Um, this kid is just he's carrying the puck, he's all through the zone, blah blah blah, setting up fucking people for great shots, and then he's getting on his horseback and like covering on D, and I'm like, dude, he's so good, he's so underappreciated, and I'm just like sick of like the boomer dads saying that Owen Power is bad at hockey because he's not bad at hockey.
No, he's not bad at hockey. I just need him next year because I think he's great at moving the puck. We talked about that, and he was more offensive last year. He took more shots and he looked for the shot last year. So like offensively, I'm fine with that. Where I just want to see him take a step next year, and I'm sure they've already had these conversations. Is just being a little bit more physical, and
Yep.
I don't need hits. I just don't need counting
Yeah.
hits for the sake of counting hits. Like I just want him to be he's a D man. He's a big D man. You got to
Yep.
that's what you got to be. You got to become an enforcer in front of the net. He's got to clear the net better, and he's just got to be a little bit more physical. And I just think he also has to be kind of dialed in like all the time. I just think like he's got these like short brain lapses
He
on the ice.
he can get a little spacey in the defensive zone.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. And things happen so quick in this league, obviously. So and that's just probably just adjusting and things. But I just want a little bit more physicality, especially in front of the net next season, and just a little bit more, just like, hey, when I'm out here, I got to be ready to go. I got to have my motor cranked at all times, and he'll be fine. I'm not worried about Power.
Yeah, I think that's where Lindy's going to help out too because Lindy has been in the game for so long. He's going to I feel like Owen can definitely he's got good stick work, but it's just like that upper body mass like you said like separating man from puck. And I mean that part
Hmm.
of that is developing man strength, and part of that is just like learning how to use your leverage, how to use your size. So
Yeah,
that's the part with like Lindy coming in. I'm excited for him to learn. I think him and Cousins are the two guys I'm most excited for when it comes to Lindy coming in here.
yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, Power at times he just looked like to get timid, honestly. Like, and he's just a young kid, so I just think he's like, hey, like, you got to know, like, if you're gonna be that guy, you're probably gonna get hit back, and like, you got to
Yep.
be okay with that. Like, so yeah, he'll be fine. I'm sure Lindy can get him moving in the right direction. But yeah, you want to move on to goal now?
Do you think that Devin Levi is going to be UPL's backup? And I want to ask you what you think UPL gets as a contract.
Yeah, so UPL is an RFA this year, so we gotta do something with that. So that's gonna be a chunk of that 23 million that we gotta sign him. I mean, I don't know. What it depends on the term too. I probably wouldn't go more than 3 years. Like
Yeah,
I'd probably cap it at three because you want Levi to be the guy. And if this season it's going to be UPL starting, Levi as the backup. I mean, you could potentially see that for 2 years, and then Levi takes over in that third year. So I would not go more than 3 years. Ideally, two. I don't know if he signs a 2 year deal or not.
I know.
Like,
So UPL has arbitration rights, and if he signs a 1 year deal, he still retains his RFA rights. Like he's not just 1 year away from UFA. He also has insane leverage over the Sabres right now. I think about how Adams has leverage over him, but I also think he has leverage over the Sabres. Like if his agent is walking in there and asking for a 6 year deal, I kind of can't blame him. But at the same time, I'm like, absolutely the fuck not. Like no way. Like that's like a get the fuck out of my office ask, but it kind of would be
you
justified
can't though.
to me.
You can't
I know.
with only
I
three
agree.
months of production, like three
Oh,
months of
I
elite
agree.
production. You can't.
Trust me. I agree, but think about it. Your savior. He's not talking about his teammate like this. Maybe he is behind closed doors. Your savior goalie was supposed to come in here and dominate at the NHL level. He was good, not great. Went down to the AHL, and he's going to be my backup. I came into the league and saved your bacon almost all season, almost pushed you to the playoffs. If I'm not here, you have that guy and no one else. That's what I'm saying if I'm UPL and his agent right now, that you have me and no one else. But if I'm Kevin Adams, I'm saying, buddy, you only did this for a half season last year and, a 3/4 season this year. Like,
Yeah, and you can point to the volatility of the position. Like Adams
Yeah.
can bring up guys this year that were studs that didn't play good, and it's like, hey, I need more from you to. If I'm going to sign you for 6 years, how can I make that justification off 3 months of play as good as that was? I can see there being leverage in both ways for sure. But that position is just so volatile, and UPL's shown that in his own play.
I honestly think like a 3-year deal at like $4.5 million per is my personal like sweet spot. You kind of give him a little bit of cash, and you still maintain the flexibility of a 3-year deal. So if Devin Levi does break out and it's like, all right, now we have this sick tandem for a couple years, if you get yourself into a Boston Bruins situation where it's
Hmm.
like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you have an elite tandem and one guy, ticking down his deal, I that's like the perfect position to be in.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, yeah, that's good. I like that.
If he would sign that, I don't know. I mean, the comparables for like guys his age and stuff, though that's kind of like in the range of like what other guys have signed for. But I can see it like going a long time throughout the summer because both sides, like we said, both sides have their leverage.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the ideal scenario, right? Is that you sign him to a, I guess I'd say a 3-year deal. If you do a 4-year deal, then that's fine. If he shows consistency, then you can always move him. Like you can always trade him for an asset.
Hmm.
Uh, in that year where he's maybe becoming UFA eligible or whatever. So that would be fine. If you're gonna get I'd shoot for probably 4.5. If I am Kevin Adams, I would even guarantee like another like 500K if he can get those singers to like come like those practice a lot. Where's he from? Where's
the
UPL
Czech
from again?
that dude. So he's from Finland, but
Yeah, if he can.
those people that came here were from Czechia.
Oh yeah, dude. So
They
if
were like
if I
the Czech
it,
fan base.
so if he can work that into the deal, I'd give him an extra 500. I'd even give him an extra million to let those guys
Dude,
like
no,
have
he
one of them
gets.
there every game.
Tell me what you think about this. He gets an extra 500K for the Czechia fan base to be here at all times, and he gets another 500K for his father to announce the lineup card, so he
Yeah,
can
yeah, yeah,
say
that'd be nice.
"Uko Pekka Lukanen" every single game. That earns him an extra 500K.
Yeah, I mean, I'd work those incentives in there for sure. It
He's
wouldn't
our
even
number
be
one.
like it wouldn't even be like gameplay bonuses. It'd be like
No,
it'd be like
dude. Okay, so random UPL thought. So a couple years ago, there was a TikTok of like, oh, some like man on the street kind of thing. And I don't know if I ever showed you this or sent it to you, but like some random girl was asked like, have you ever slept with an NHL player? And she said this was a couple of years ago, so like UPL wasn't very good. And she's like, yeah, I made out with some guy named Ugo. Like he plays for the Sabres. He's not very good,
I think you did send me this.
dude. Now he's a fucking baller and he's gonna make millions of dollars. So fuck you, girl. Yeah, don't talk shit at my goalie.
That is so funny, man. That is so funny. We're also I guess if you want to move on from UPL, we're
Yeah,
kind of
sure.
we're kind of assuming Levi's the backup next season. I don't think he'll be in Rochester next
Yeah,
year.
even looking at like the UFA market, like potentially like, give another veteran a like a 1 or 2 year deal and have Levi and Rochester. Devin Levi is better than almost all of those goalies. So
Yeah.
sign a guy for Rochester and have Devin in the NHL. That's probably what I want.
And you know what's going to happen, dude. You know what's going to happen. They're going to sign UPL to this deal. He's gonna start out fine. He'll be playing fine, but he's not going to be like world beater. Levi's going to back up for a couple games and play out of his mind, and all you're going to hear is Levi's got to be the guy.
Oh
UPL's the
yeah, I
backup.
know.
Like that is 100% happening next season.
Yep, yep. We're gonna get some kind of goalie controversy one way or the other.
Yeah, and that'll be within the first 10 games for sure. So, oh
Dude, remember when Don started Devin Levi the first like 5 fucking games?
my gosh. I
Like
mean, we were kind of on that
what?
bandwagon though.
No, okay. Not for the first 5 games, dude. I think we said that was stupid. Like, what did he say about him too? He's like, I want to get him into the rhythm of the NHL. Like, what the fuck are you saying? Like, what? I think last year was like within the first couple games, you would text me and be like, I can't even listen to this guy speak after games.
Oh
And then
my
you
god, it
watch
was
every
terrible.
single media appearance the guy had, which was,
I
I commend you for it.
well, I was watching. I was hate watching for sure. I was just looking for my nuggets that I could post on Twitter about, but it was all the same nonsense, anyways. But yeah, all right. Well, we'll move on here. So we got some Sabres to do. So we kind of talked about some of the RFAs already, UPL and Yoki Haru. I think another one of interest who's not under contract right now is Peyton Krebs. So, what are your thoughts on Krebs? I'm sure he's going to be back. What do you think his role looks like, or do you think he's a possible trade chip for Kevin Adams? Is that something you would want?
um, I'm open to moving him, but I still don't think he's with anything more than a number four center. Like a guy
Mm-hmm.
that can provide energy, maybe he can kill penalties, but he had his chance. Like I was personally clamoring him for him to, play with better players, play with better players. He's better than what he's shown. Get him away from Gergensen and Poso. And I got to be honest with you, he didn't really show much. Didn't really show anything that could make me think that he's anything more than a fourth line center. But I think he can be an effective fourth line center because he's kind of a jerk out there.
Mm-hmm.
He's yapping. You know, he. I think he's pretty good at face-offs. He he can just run around and he he's one of the only guys that throws the body. Like he's only 6 foot tall, but he plays like a bigger body. He's a good puck protector, good passer. So he'll get a cheap contract. I just don't think they should elevate his role.
Do you think that the coaching changes can help him? I mean, we talked about
Maybe.
other guys. You haven't heard that a lot, with Krebs, but he's kind of that dog, like he's in. Maybe he doesn't have the offensive prowess that everybody wanted, but I mean, whatever. I mean, you got a first round pick and Alex Tuck in that deal for Eichel too. So it's like Krebs was kind of like the third piece, So like if he's just ends up being or was it a second round pick? I don't even know. I think it was a
It was
first
the
round
first
pick.
because that's the pick we used to draft Isaac Rosen.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, so like if he ends up just being a fourth line guy, that's fine. But I don't know. I'm just wondering if like I hate to use that excuse for everything. Like, oh, can the coaches just help this guy too? But it just seems like he could be a guy too that could get a little bit of a bump just from having a little bit more structure and things from Lindy and Appert.
Yeah, I gotta correct myself. I think we used that pick on Kulik. I think Vegas went far in the playoffs that year. I don't remember. Fuck Vegas.
I
But
actually think it was Oslin, if I'm being honest.
I think you're right. We drafted. They're both Swedes. They're both Swedes. We drafted Roseanne with the Ristolainen pick we got from Philly.
Yeah,
So God damn it, I'm getting my Swedes mixed up. You're correct. You're
I'll
correct.
look it up now for
Okay,
sure. But I
Oslin and Kulik were in the same draft. I know that. So that's funny. But can you repeat what you just said? Because I lost it.
it was just about it was just about Krebs, like
Okay.
and the coaching staff and whatnot.
Um, I don't know because with I've seen this point made a little bit that like people want to give up on Krebs,
Yeah, it was
but
no Oslin, by the way.
okay, but oh yeah, Vegas might have missed the playoffs that year. Um, People want to give up on Krebs so easily and say he's nothing more than a fourth line center, but here's like what Tage Thompson did during like before he broke out, and here's what Casey Middlestat did before he broke out. Those two players showed sparks before they elevated their game. I haven't seen. I don't know what
I
you,
know,
but
I know.
I haven't really seen Peyton Krebs like do any of that. Like even with better line mates, there was a ton. Like I just think he's more of a checker than an offensive guy, and sometimes that happens. You're a first round pick. You don't really develop that offensive side, and you turn into a defensive guy. So I'm not even saying he's bad. I like him, but I'm just not ready to say that he deserves a shot higher up the lineup.
I'm with you. I'm with you. As much as I like Krebs, it's like he's 23. It's not like he's an 18-year-old kid anymore, a 19-year-old kid. Like you've seen him for a few years. I mean, he's still got a lot of time left ahead of him, but I just think at this time you've kind of seen, what he is. It's like we've talked about with Levi. Like Levi, he was inconsistent, but you saw flashes. Like you've seen the flashes of greatness, you've seen the flashes of brilliance, and it's just a matter of time before that becomes a little bit more consistent. So yeah, I mean, can he get a little bit of a help? Maybe, but at the end of the day, I think he's just kind of that fourth line guy, and that's fine. I mean, you need those guys too.
Dude,
So I mean, whatever.
we didn't even touch on the fact that it was. I mean, I don't really think this needs to be announced, but I think David Pagnotta of the fourth period, who has kind of a sketchy reporting history. Like he's not always on the mark, but he said that Olofsson, obvious, and Gergensons aren't going to be back next season. If you can pair Krebs with two, like maybe one of the fourth line people, I mean, we're going to get into it, like which player can make the roster, because I personally think Isaac Rosen can be an effective fourth line player as soon as next season.
Hmm.
If you can pair those two guys with like not even like a meathead, but like a bigger body that can, not really even protect them either, but just like that can be our puck possession line next season,
Yeah, yeah.
and can step in and I Peyton Krebs has thrown fists around in the past, like he's like a little Tasmanian devil out there.
Dude, I'd
If
love to see that. I'd love to see just like two just fucking like statues out there with him, and
Yeah,
just like,
dude,
and he's just kind of like just zooming around, just
and
like
wouldn't that be great?
feeling
Like,
free to do whatever the fuck he wants.
yeah, if one of the kids plays with them too, it's like it's fine because he got this big fucker out there just like roaming around. That's kind of like my ideal fourth line next year. But as you brought up too, they can always move Peyton Krebs and get a veteran fourth line center in there. I'm just not sure what they want to do or how they feel about him.
If they wanted to, if they wanted to move him, does he have to sign a contract first? I think I
No,
asked you this before, but okay,
no,
so because he's an RFA, so like they
yeah,
can still trade him. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, yeah.
okay.
You can trade. Technically, you can trade UFAs too. Like when this like I'll give you an example. When the Sabres signed Christian Ehrhoff in 2011, we technically
Didn't they
traded
just
for him.
finish paying him?
Yeah, recently, yeah, from his buyout. Um, we traded for him technically. Like he was set to become a UFA. We traded for him and then signed him like a couple days later. So it
Hmm.
happens. It happens like rarely. But yeah, since he's RFA, we can just trade him to another team and then they'll like deal with his contract.
Oh, I see, I see, I see. Yeah, yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know how much value he has either. Like you'd probably have to patch it. Like can a package of
Yeah.
Krebs, 11th overall, and like a prospect get you something good? I don't know.
I think that could get a deal done for sure. But um, all right. We don't have other RFAs that we don't really need to elaborate on too much. Jacob Bryson, Kale Clegg,
Do you
they're
want
there.
do you want Bryson back as your 17th?
Um,
The guy
I
barely
wouldn't. I
fucking
wouldn't
played.
mind it. I wouldn't mind it. I mean, yeah,
I
he's not like
wouldn't
he's
either.
gonna get. It's not like he's gonna get a lot of minutes. He was fine last year. I mean, we already went through the list. I mean, you have five right now. So if you go out and sign one more, you're at six. You're gonna need a seventh anyways, unless you sign two. So which you could do theoretically as well.
Right?
Um,
And then have
it
Clifton
just
be your 7th.
yeah, it just depends on like what the other options would be for seventh defenseman and what Kevin Adams is going to do. Like, is that person that they're going to be bringing in, more valuable than Bryson, who's already been here, for a couple years and somewhat familiar with things. So I like again, I wouldn't be against that. I thought Bryson actually played better last year. So I
Yeah,
mean,
I mean, give him a 1 year deal at 900K and call it a day, and that's your seventh defenseman. And he
yeah.
vibes with the room. He's friends with them. He's always on vacation with everyone. Like him and his wife or girlfriend, they're always on vacation with the other Sabres. So it's like, why the fuck not? Like it's fine. And
Yeah,
then
and he's a guy I could see like if they didn't sign him, being signed by another team and like being a fine seventh defenseman like for that team. You know what I mean? I
right,
just think that's like kind of like what he is too, kind of like Krebs. So
right.
whatever.
And then we got Kale Clegg. Bring him back for Rochester. I don't see why not.
Yeah, yeah, it's fine. As far as other prospects go, we can get into that section here now. You mentioned Rose, and I sorted things out here in kind of like three categories, like who we think have legitimate shots to make the roster. Maybe some prospects on the rise that are going to maybe be leading the way in Rochester next year, and then who it's too late for. But is there anyone next season beside, obviously Roseanne, we both like him. Anyone else that you think has a shot? You have eight forwards that are signed right now. You're probably going to have 14, right? Probably 14 forwards on the team.
Yep.
So you have room for guys. You're going to bring guys in, but is a spot or two going to be taken up with one of these young kids, you think, next season?
I'm gonna I'm gonna call my shot now. I think one of the big four forwards prospects that we have is getting traded, and I think one of them makes the roster.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who, because I kind of think so. Matthew Savoy probably has the most uh, trade value around the league,
Hmm.
followed by Yuri Kulik, followed by Roseanne, followed by Osland. But I think in NHL readiness, I kind of have it the way you have it written here, with Roseanne in the first slot, then Savoy, then Kulik, then Osland.
Yeah.
What do you
Yeah.
think?
I mean,
I'm a big Roseanne guy. I think he's super slept on.
yeah. Again, it's hard. It just depends on what they do, right? Because like Roseanne, I like him. I like him to come up, but he's going to be a fourth line guy. So then it's like, if you're retaining Krebs, you're gonna have probably Krebs and Roseanne together, and who's gonna be opposite that? And like, is that what you want for your
I
fourth
know.
line?
Is that
Or
almost like, I like the idea, but is that a waste for you?
I think that would be. I think that would be like. I think you have to get. That's where I think moves need to be made, because if you're gonna bring up, like, I guess put it this way, I like Roseanne. I'd rather see him get a shot next year on the fourth line and move Krebs. Like, as much as I like Krebs, like, again, maybe he just is what he is. So I'd rather see them, sign a couple guys, maybe revamp this fourth line a little bit and stick Rose in there. I also, for me, it's very close between him and Savoy. I know we haven't necessarily seen Savoy in the AHL, and I'm not sure, like, how strong of like a two-way player he is. Obviously the offensive prowess is there, but I'd have to, watch him more with either Rochester next year, or in uh, training camp, to see like how he looks as far as like the two-way forwards go. But like, I think him and Roseanne are right there at the top for having a very realistic shot to make the roster. Something that really intrigues me, if you bring Savoy up, if Savoy's the guy, is having him and Benson on a line, and then just
I
getting
know.
someone to center that line.
And then that could be your third line. Like,
Hmm.
I guess either those two could play on a third line with a Benson, and then getting a new third line center. Because then you have Jordan Greenway to play the new Zemgus Girgensons role. Which, if you have Jordan Greenway and then Peyton Krebs and then another bigger body, there's your two skyscrapers next to Peyton Krebs.
Hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, I I kind of just, when it comes to the kids, man, I kind of want it to be. I don't want there to be like any open spots like Benson had this year.
Yeah.
Like do enough so that none of these guys can make it. And if someone gets hurt uh, early in the season or camp, and let's say Roseanne goes back for another year of Rochester and is dominating, well then call him up. Like, I I'm over giving kids a spot, kind of.
Yeah. I know, dude. It's so like, looking back, it's like my reaction to Benson making the team was like, how cool is that? Like, this kid like showed out, and like you're excited about a prospect, but also at the same time, like, how is that possible?
I
Like,
know.
that I should have been sounding alarm bells more, back then when that was a possibility. And he came in and did fine, but it's just like, that's what this team needs, you're a young team, but you have a lot of experience. Like if this team can get just again, just they just need more just household names. You got
Yep.
to go and get some guys to just come in here, and you have the talent. Like this team is not that far off, but you can't just keep letting the young kids come in. And I love these young kids. Like I love Savoy, I love Roseanne, Kulik. I'm a little worried about him, but I like Ryan Johnson. Like I like a lot of what they have in Rochester, and I like some of the other guys like Kisakov, Noichev. Like I love Wahlberg. Like we're gonna see all those guys. Those are kind of the guys on the rise that are gonna be Oslin. Like those are gonna be the guys in Rochester next year. So I like that, but it's got to be like a Dallas. Like a Dallas is the perfect example, right? Of just like you have your guys, you've built up this core, and these guys can come in, here and there, like one at a time or two at a time if you just hit. But not there just can't be open spots for all these young, like you can't be going into another season with the youngest roster in the NHL again. You
Right.
just can't.
Like Dallas is almost like the perfect team. They're loaded with high-end young guys. Logan Stankoven played the majority of the season in the AHL. Like he played like 63 games in the AHL.
Yeah.
He was way too good. He was elite. He had over a point per game. Comes up and now he's on the second scoring line on the most deep team in the goddamn league in the Western Conference Final. Wyatt Johnston, exception to the rule. I mean, he that year we're gonna look back on that draft year as like one of the weirdest draft years of all time, just because of like it was the COVID year and some guys didn't even play. So guys were being scouted based off like the year before, and that's how he kind of fell. And obviously, he in a redraft now he probably goes what top five, top three.
Oh yeah.
But the rest of that team is all veterans, man. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
guys like Robertson and Heskinen, those guys were drafted as far back as 2017. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like they have their core, they have their older veterans like a Jamie Benn and Tyler Sagan, and then they have these young kids like, man, we just need to be at that point where like the older guys are there, like more than two of them are there to insulate.
So if you take Skinner out of it, who are those guys for the Sabres currently?
Alex Tucken, Rasmus Dahlin, and Tage Thompson.
Three guys.
They are ages
24,
26.
26, and 28.
Yeah, it's not good enough. It's not.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
And Jordan Greenway, but he's like a fourth liner, so it's
No, Greenway, like no, I
you're
don't look
you're
at
not
yeah.
the old, like you need a guy that's I don't even want to like make it reductive and say good, but you need like a veteran, like an NHL legitimate like 26, another 27-year-old, another 28-year-old, like someone that has been around the league for a couple years and can play a role effectively
Yeah.
to guide these kids.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I said, they can't just continue with the young rosters. Like you have those guys, but if even if Roseanne and Kulik and Savoy and them, even if they end up staying in Rochester, like a couple more years, like that's okay. Those kids are still young. They can come up after that, or I mean, you're gonna have to move some to get these guys that we're talking about anyways. So you're not gonna like that. Ideally, that pool shrinks from this to this, and there's less to choose from because you're getting more specific with your roster, which is
Right.
exactly how you need to build things. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens there. But all right, anything else in this section?
I will say that like it's too late for a Lucas Rusak or a Wiesback or a Byro. Like
Yeah.
they're just AHL guys, and I mean that's fine.
Yeah, you know what's cool? Like that I've like gotten into hockey a little bit more these last few years is like you'll watch these guys and just root for them in Rochester. Then like I don't have any like emotions toward Rusek. Like he's just kind of meh to me. But like
Yep.
Byro, I kind of like Brandon Byro. Like he's not an NHLer, but like we'll get AHL TV every year, and I'll watch like to watch Byro because like I just kind of
Right.
like the way he plays. He's kind of scrappy and stuff too. So you have these AHLers like Wiesbach and Mersch, and like you tune in to see them too, just like at that level, which is kind of
Right.
cool. So
And it's
yeah,
insane that like the level between the AHL and the NHL is just so insane. Like the gap. but like those guys are all really good pros.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
exactly.
crazy.
Yeah, but I agree. I think that's too late for them. Spot guys here and there for injuries, but that's about it. All right, should we go to playoffs NHL? Talk about what's going
Sure,
on there.
sure.
We got. I'm just keeping an eye on this Dallas game, so you probably got
I
it
know, me
on.
too.
What 6 minutes left or six and a
Yep,
half
six
minutes
and a
left?
half.
Yeah, hopefully Dallas can pull it out. It's no mystery that I'm rooting for Dallas because I picked them as my cup team, and so did you actually. But plus, I'm not a big Oilers guy, and you know how I feel about their jerseys, so whatever.
It's
But
insane, man. I think they're gorgeous.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna bring up the. I'm gonna share my screen here. We'll bring up the
It really
standings. The
gets
up.
me when we get the screen share going. It just like really rustles my jimmies.
So this is our updated standings for the bracket pool. There's been quite a bit of changes here, and
Can you move it over to the left a little bit, or no?
no,
Okay,
why you
it's
can't
kind of
see it
cut
all?
off. It's kind of cut off.
I can see it good on my screen.
Nope, that's okay. Let's you got to read me these names.
You must be zoomed in then, because it looks freaking amazing on mine.
Oh, we're good. I fixed it. I'm a fucking idiot.
All right, there we go. There we go. So in first is so there's a change at the top. Your buddy Colin was leading the way last time. He's now in second at
Well,
167.
absolute dog shit.
Sharp Sharp Sabres is now in first with 192, and he's got the Rangers. So a little interesting factoid here is that no cup picks have been eliminated yet. So Rangers still in, Florida still in, Oilers and Dallas. So everybody,
Wow, a lot of guys that joined this no puck.
yeah, yeah, except for me. But I will say I'm not in last anymore. I did, thanks to Tombstone, I did move up from 11th to 10th. So shout out to Tombstone. I'm I'm glad you decided to join because I'm no longer at the bottom. But yeah, Sabres fun stats was in second last time we talked and checked in on this. He drops down to seventh, but he is on the Panthers, so you'd imagine that he can still get into first if the Panthers win it all with points left and whatnot. But what do you think here? Any surprises as far as like who's left in the playoffs or excited about the upcoming series?
Honest, so I think the best four teams made it to the conference final. You don't always get that, so this is great. I mean, did you? So last night, uh, Florida and New York played, and I thought Florida just shut them down completely.
Oh
Like
my god, dude!
it
What
was
that
it
broadcast
was,
was so shit. Like I'm like, there's no energy, and I know Rangers played like ass, but I'm like, there's no energy in this stadium. This is MSG. It's a conference.
dude,
I thought like I was watching a regular season game.
dude. They were acting like the fucking game was on October 13th and like 24. Like, dude,
It
it's the
was so
goddamn
bizarre.
Eastern Conference final.
Yeah, it was very
Like,
bizarre.
nothing has made me miss Doc Emmerich more than ESPN broadcasts.
Oh my
Oh,
god,
they are
ESPN
just
broadcasts are
so
terrible.
like Bob Weishausen is such a good broadcaster. Like he is the guy right now, and the rest of the ESPN crew is just it's pitiful. Like John Buccigross, no offense to you, you're probably a really nice guy. You know, you're obviously a huge fan of hockey, and you're always on Twitter. You know, posting pictures of chicken parm and you're a funny guy and I like you a lot, but you are not an NHL commentator. I am so sorry, dude. Like
No,
it
more
is
like
bad.
Bucha Gross.
Oh, it is. It is. I like the guy. I think he's great. He's nice, but I'm not a fan of his commentary at all. The only
You
redeeming
don't think he's got
quality.
a good
No, it's
goal for?
terrible.
I feel like he does the goal pretty good.
The rest of it is not good. The
Yeah,
only
yeah,
redeeming
okay.
quality about the ESPN broadcast is getting to see Emily Kaplan on TV. That's about it. She's my crush. She's currently my crush in the hockey community. Um,
I don't mind Mark Messier, but like, oh my God, Subban, I can't stand, and
He's
Steve
a
Levy,
character. He
the
tries too hard,
intermission
man.
report. Oh,
He
dude,
tries too hard.
did you see? I remember seeing the he did like the lineup read. This was like a couple months ago for one of the games, and I forget what team it was, but like he comes in, he's all decked out in some ridiculous outfit, and he like,
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
what happened? What happened?
Dallas just tied it up.
Let's go. I just got the game cast on my phone. I'm not
Oh, fuck
watching it,
yeah.
but
All right, sick.
who scored? Who scored? Oh, it's
Sagan.
Tyler Sagan. All right, nice. So anyways, like I remember watching this video a couple months back, and it's like he comes in, he's got this like ridiculous outfit on, and he's like giving all the players nicknames, and he puts this big theater thing on. I'm like, these guys are professional hockey players. Like you don't get like more like just like, I guess like down to earth, just like I'm gonna go out there and do my job, like
I know, dude.
type
Hockey players are
like
boring.
that's what I'm saying. It's like, and you can see it. You look around the room and everyone's just like, "What is this clown
Okay,
doing?" Like,
I gotta say something about that panel. Those guys fucking hate each other. They
I
do
think
not like
Messier,
each other.
yeah, no,
They,
Messier always eye rolling at Subban.
dude, they do not like each other at all. I think who said it on Twitter yesterday? Sarah Sivian did. She's a great follow. Everyone should follow Sarah Sivian. Like the women in hockey right now are just like killing it. I
And
love
shout out
all of
to
them.
Megan Cheka.
Yeah, shout out Megan. We always got to shout out Megan. Dude, the women in hockey are killing it. They are so insightful. I just love like it's great. But anyway, she
Shout out
said
Jackie
like
Redmond.
yeah, she's great. Yeah, she's great too. Um, she said on Twitter, you've never seen like a more like a group of people that hate each other more than this ESPN panel, and I just could not agree more, dude. They are just they're just the vibes are so off. Like you know how you can just like be in a room and just tell when the vibes are off?
Oh yeah,
That's them. And then compare them to the TNT panel, who is perfect. It
yep.
is unreal. It's so good.
It's when I went to turn on the game last night and I saw it was on ESPN. I actually was pissed because it wasn't on TNT. I was like, "Are
Like
you kidding me?"
like Biz isn't everyone's cup of tea, but I love him, always have. He's a great guy too. And then you got Anson Carter, always giving it insightful stuff. You got fucking Gretzky on the panel. Gretzky,
Hmm.
like amazing. You got who else is on there all the time? Who's the fourth? Oh, you got
I mean, they get Colby Armstrong on there
yeah, they're
sometimes.
starting to bring on like a lot of like the Chicklets guys. Like they'll bring Colby on. They'll bring Keith Yandel starting to get
Isn't
dip his toes.
Weeks is on there too,
They'll
right?
bring it. Yeah, Weeks on ESPN actually. Like one of the only redeeming qualities of ESPN.
Oh,
Um,
okay, all right, never mind.
and then fucking they'll bring on Keith Yandel occasionally, and it's like, dude,
Yeah. Yandel's
their
always good.
vibes are so much better, and
Oh
the
yeah.
podcast is just good. Like as like calling the game. So TNT is killing that ESPN. I was so excited for ESPN to get hockey back. Like it was way too long for the number one sports broadcasting outlet to not have hockey. And oh my God, I feel like they couldn't care less.
Before we get into the series, real quick, I gotta give a shout out to my second team, the Vancouver Canucks.
Hmm.
You played a terrible game 7. You waited, 50 minutes to get going. You truly pulled the Sabres, in that game 7, and just waited, more than half the game to get going. I mean, what was that game? Just disappointing game 7, especially at home. But a hell of a season and a hell of a run. I thought they were gonna get it done. I mean, Seelovs, shout out to that man
Dude,
because he
he
was
earned a
like,
backup spot next year.
yeah, he was playing great, and just their stars just didn't come ready. Like JT Miller, nowhere to be found that last game. Pedersen actually played good, but with Besser being out, like you could just tell, it was just I think it was just too much for them to overcome. Oilers kind of took command of that series in game 6 by
Yep.
putting their pedal down, and then that momentum totally continued into game 7. But hey, I'm glad I had a playoff team to root for, and hopefully it's the Sabres next year. But good season for the Canucks.
Yeah. Shout out the Canucks.
All right, you want to get into? Do you have anything left? Yeah, you want to elaborate on anything?
I
Dallas,
mean,
Edmonton.
this game has been pretty good. Like it was kind of boring in the first period. but my guys kind of like keep moving up, and both teams are trading chances, and it's been really fun. And there's two
Do you
minutes left,
think?
so I
Do
kind of
you
hope it
think?
goes in overtime.
Do you think that McDavid's playing hurt? I just feel like McDavid's like everyone's like if he's not scoring like 2 points a game, everyone's just like, oh, he's hurt. It's like why can't he just be like? I mean, I think he still looks kind of good. Like why does he have to be hurt?
He definitely looks great, but I definitely have noticed that he's been reluctant to actually shoot the puck.
Yeah,
Like he might have a wrist injury, but dude, like everyone's injured right now. Like you can't name a single guy that's healthy on either team.
yeah. It might just be
So
so nice to be so great where like if you're not scoring like 2 points a game, people are like, ah, he's just hurt, whatever.
right, right, and I mean he's been pretty damn good. Like you said, it's not like he's invisible out there. He doesn't look like superhero McDavid. He looks like just superstar McDavid, which is still a damn good player.
Yeah, I'm taking the Stars in the series. I just think they're just I have a little bit more depth, and I think the big edge for them comes in net with Ottinger. So I'll take Dallas and six in that series. But I feel like every game will be close.
Me too. And what do you think about the other series? Like, do you think the Panthers are gonna dominate again the way they did in Game One, or do you think the Rangers are gonna show a little more spunk in Game Two?
I mean, I hope so. I mean, I picked the Rangers to win that series. I mean, I mean my ship bracket. I think I actually had Rangers against the Bruins in the conference final, but now that it's Rangers and Panthers, it's going to be a good series. I see it going seven, no matter what. I think these teams are pretty close. I think it could just come down to special teams. Like if Florida can kind of stay out of the box and not let the Rangers power play, get going, I think Florida has a good shot 5-on-5 against them. But I don't know, man. The Rangers are kind of like Dallas. They're deep and they got a lot of guys. So I think the Rangers can pull that off in 7 games. I have a feeling though that series is going to be a lot closer than the Dallas one. Obviously, I picked that to go six.
All right, dude. I honestly, you just murdered that breakdown. Like, prop to you. That was an incredible. I have nothing more to add. I will say though,
Thanks
I'll
for pumping my
I
tires.
I have nothing more to add, but I'm gonna add more because that's just who I am. I think that the Truba train is gonna line someone up in the tracks one of these games, and it's gonna be an all-out mayhem. Like you can see both teams just going fucking bonkers at each other physically if Truba just lines someone up. And I don't know who said it. I don't know who said this. Someone said that the Rangers should put in Matt Rempe. Dude, it's too late for Matt Rempe. You're too far in the game for you can't be like icing a guy that's gonna play 4 minutes. I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, I think it's gonna be a fun series. I don't honestly I don't know. I think it might be if people are looking for like fights and things, like obviously these games are going to get chippy, but I don't really think any of these series are going to be like super bloody. I don't know. I
Yeah.
just I just kind of feel like these teams are going to go out and play, and unless there's something blatant like a blatant cheap shot or whatnot, I kind of just think that these teams are going to focus on business and
Yeah.
not not wanting to take each other out like Marshawn said. Like get the fuck out of here. What that
I don't
quote
know,
from a
dude.
few weeks ago
He
was
I
ridiculous.
he was onto something there. I think he was
No.
correct in that. Yes, dude. Yes. Okay. This is Brad Marchand saying this. Okay. So for the people that didn't hear, after I think it was during the series with Florida. I'm not sure if it was during the series or after they lost, but he was talking about the Bennett hit on him, and he was acknowledging that in this league, you're hitting to hurt people. Like, dude. You're not hitting a guy just to separate him from the puck. If you hit a guy and you knock him out of the series, oh well, like it happens. Like I'm just putting where my brain goes. If I am playing in the NHL and I have someone lined up in the playoffs to fucking dust them, I'm doing it. And I think that's what Brad Marchand was saying.
Yeah, but okay. the way the way he said it just sounded so Neanderthal. I don't know. He's just like, well, you're trying to eliminate the other team, and if you got more guys than them, then you're like, it was just. I'm just
That's
like,
how it is. That's how I feel
I
like he
don't
was
know.
correct.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I
Hon-
think that's ridiculous. I
It's
just think like these guys like you're
it's
competing.
not every
Yes,
guy. It's not
I
every guy,
know.
but
I
there are
I
some
know.
guys.
Yeah, absolutely. But it seemed like I don't know.
You don't
But if
think,
he's
dude?
extrapolating that to like every other team in the league, I think I don't
What did
think that's
Truba
accurate.
do? Who did? Oh, was it Natchez that Truba fucking sent his whole body like a missile at Natchez's dome piece in the last series? Like that's kind of what I'm saying. Like if you got a guy lined up in a vulnerable position, there are some guys that are gonna try to take you out.
Yeah, I guess. I
That's
just
just.
think like
I'm also when it comes to hockey, like as I get older, I'm getting more Neanderthal too. So I'm just like, I want the Sabres to grab someone that'll fucking pop someone's head off in the playoffs. Like you guys that are listening, you should go YouTube this like after you're done listening, like immediately. So I think it was 2012, and Shea Weber was playing for the Predators, and Henrik Zetterberg, obviously on the Red Wings. The play is over, the period's over, the game is over. Zetterberg gives Weber a shot, like as time expires. Weber takes his fucking head and slams it into the glass. No suspension. Nothing. Not even a fine. I want a Shea Weber on our team to slam someone's head into the glass.
I mean, yeah, the Sabres definitely need that. But we went off we went off on such a tangent here. It was
I
so
know,
great.
I know.
Dude,
I just like,
but my original point was that I kind of think these series are going to be somewhat tame. Like these teams are just kind of I think they're just going to go out and play hockey and
yeah,
best
you
team
don't
wins
want to
and
do
we'll see.
anything. You don't want to do anything stupid. Like obviously, like you're gonna penalize your team, and the most important thing is the scoreboard at this point. Like if you're the final four, like don't be dumb. Like don't do something stupid.
Well, I pick Rangers. Who'd you take?
I took Florida.
So you got Florida, Dallas. I got Rangers,
Yep,
Dallas.
yep. I got Gary Bettman's wet dream, a Southern final.
All right. Well, I mean, hey, it's gonna be fun. The cool thing about the Eastern Conference Finals is that it's like, or well, the conference finals is like it's not like multiple games, but it's just like each day is just the next series, which is kind
Yep.
of cool. It's like, all right, tonight I got this series, and then tomorrow I got this series. That's kind of cool for
Yeah, I
Eastern
love it. I mean,
Conference, but
I just, it's so fast that it's crazy that we went from, 4 games in a day to 1 game a day. Makes me
yeah,
sad, kinda. But at
yeah.
the same time, you're like, oh, you're getting a good hockey game.
Yeah, like you're just locked into like the top four teams, and it's just like you're gonna like you're just watching one game a night, but it's like the stakes are that much higher, and you're just like it's just yeah, it's playoff hockey's the best anyway. So yeah.
Yep.
All right, where you want to go next?
Let's go on some like miscellaneous random stuff. So, dude, the I gotta tell you, the PWHL is in the finals right now, and it's Boston and Montreal. They're currently tied 1-1. It's a best of five, so props to all the ladies. I think the skater's name was Erin Ambrose. Dude, if you get a second, look at her ice time logs for a multiple overtime game that her team played. Dude, she logged like 65 minutes in a game. It was insane. Like crazy stuff. And then this league has some warriors in it. Natalie Spooner, she's a Canadian, she's unreal, she's a great hockey player. She gave birth about I think 6 months ago. Comes back into the league and leads the league in scoring. Like what? How is
Over a
that
point per game.
over a point per game? 27 points in 24 games. What? Holy shit, man! Like that is like you talk about like men coming back from like broken legs and stuff, and it's like, oh, what a warrior. This lady gave birth
Yeah, yeah.
to her son and then came back and dominated the league. Like that to me is like the ultimate like cool story in hockey this year. Like that's just crazy to me.
I wonder if they're going to. That is all cool stuff. Do you think it's a Because I'd love to tune into the PWHL more. This is kind of where I wish there was just more time in the day to like
I
get to
know,
all the
I
shit that
know.
I want to. But I kind of feel like they should work around maybe like try and find a time where you're like your playoffs are not like the same time as like the NHL playoffs because like it's just you're not gonna draw the fans that you're looking to
It's
win.
actually a good point. schedule wise.
And I don't know what time the games are, but I just like maybe they're offset, but still like people only have so much time in a day. So like if you just going forward, like it just doesn't seem like it's like the greatest idea now for you to be in your finals when the NHL playoffs are going on. Like find a way to stagger that where maybe the PWHL finals is whatever a month offset or whatever, just so you can increase viewership. I don't know.
I feel like as the league grows, like even more, like there's only what 6 teams, but
Yeah,
I feel like their first season was pretty successful. I mean, they were selling out buildings and
yeah.
lots.
From what I've seen, it seems that yeah.
Their games were all on YouTube. And from I would pop in from time to time, dude, they were getting like thousands of viewers like at a time, like 10,000 viewers. So that's
Yeah, I
pretty
would totally
goddamn good.
watch.
That's
Yeah,
pretty damn good.
yeah, and imagine you could get even more. If and that stuff gets ironed out. I mean, it's just the first season.
Yeah,
But I guess
6 teams. Bring another women's team to Buffalo. Bring back the Buttes.
yeah, that would be sweet. That would be sweet. All right, what else you got?
World Championships are going on. We can talk about that for a second. Semifinals are on Saturday. We got Sweden versus Czechia and Canada versus Switzerland. Obviously, we got a bunch of Sabres on Canada. Cousins, I feel like, has scored in every single game this tournament. It's insane. Guy's on a heater. Barnes played well. He's got 6 points. Pollard played really well. And like I said earlier, dude, like every commentator is like, wow, this guy's actually good. And that just kind of like shows you that like no one gives a shit about the Buffalo Sabres. And then we got Paterka. Paterka quietly put up 9 points for Germany. I feel like this guy has not gotten any love like from anyone. I have not seen any of his highlights, and he had 9 points and he
Yeah,
did his thing. He had a goal and an assist today in their overtime win against who'd they play? Finland, I think. I'm not sure, but this tournament's fun. It's not on TV really. It's only on TV in Canada, so it's hard to
yeah. I
watch.
haven't. I haven't seen any, but I don't know how much I'd be tuning in anyways if
I like seeing our
if
guys
I
do
could.
well though, so I just wanted to bring
Yeah,
it up.
yeah. No, for sure, it's cool. I mean, it's good to see Cousins with 8 goals. You say that leads the tournament?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's cool. I mean, because that's something that he struggled with during the season. So you
Oh,
want your
I
guys to get
I
hot and
forgot. I thought he forgot how to score.
well, he was firing pucks at Jupiter all season. But yeah, no, that's cool. Is it the finals yet? Is it over?
No, I just said it's semifinal. So we got
Oh, semifinal. Okay.
yeah. So who
There's
we got?
always one spot in every podcast where I just don't hear what you
Just
say.
don't listen to anything I say. I know it's so funny. Yeah, Sweden plays Czechia and Canada plays Switzerland. So it would be kind of fun for like Sweden and Canada to win their games, and then all of our Sabres uh meet up in the finals. I'm
Is
I'm including I'm including Victor Olofsson in that Swedish contingent.
I was just gonna say I don't see Olafson's stat line
Dude, I just looked. He had a goal. A goal.
here. It's probably empty net, or it was in like a 6-1 blowout or something.
Dude, oh, Victor Olofsson goals, like I love that when he would score, it'd be like in a 6-1 blowout, and then someone would immediately post that Chris Paul meme where like it's taken from YouTube and it says like Chris Paul hits a three, team down by 35.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, the classic Victor Olsen goes. I'm actually gonna like when we're done recording, I'm gonna go and look that up because there probably was a clear like a classic Victor Olsen goal, but
Uh,
whatever.
dude, so you want to talk about the Memorial Cup?
Yeah, so last week on the show we mentioned Vsevolav Komarov and his
Wow.
win.
Wow. Dude, elite pronunciation.
I know, man. I just went to a different different dialect there real quick.
That
You
was
know, I'm
you
like,
just whipped out your best Russian. Holy shit.
I love his name. I love his name. I want him to be successful just because I need to hear Sevalov more on the from what's his face? What's the Sabres announcer again?
Oh, Dan Dunleavy.
Dunleavy. Dunleavy. Yeah, I need to hear Dunleavy.
Dude, imagine, what's funny? Imagining Rob Ray trying to pronounce Vsevolaod Komarov.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. But So Komarov won the QM JHL last week, and then this week Savoy wins Moose Jaw. Moose Jaw just ran through the WHL. They swept the championship series, so they're going to be playing in the Memorial Cup.
Dude, I gotta tell you, all three of the finals in the Q, the OHL, and the Western League were sweeps.
Oh, were they really? Okay,
Dude,
yeah, look at
first time
that.
that's ever happened.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Imagine having that little parlay.
I know it's insane. So we
Because
got
Savoy had a good playoffs. I mean, he had 24 points in 19 playoff games. He had a great year uh, with Wenatchee and Moose Jaw combined, but he did lead the WHL with 2.09 points per game during the regular season, and obviously had over a point per game in the WHL playoffs as well. He did score in the game winning game as well. So, or the series clinching game as well. So, it's good to see your prospects doing good, and the Memorial Cup begins on. Well, actually, it begins tomorrow. Tomorrow will be the first game.
yeah,
So,
and dude, it's so fun. Like it's just a round robin between four teams. Like it's fun. But dude, I gotta bring this up because I need your opinion on it. We haven't really talked about this at all. So there's a player for the London Knights. His name is Landon Sim. He's a Blues prospect from the 2022 draft. Okay. You know, hockey players talk shit to each other all the time. You can imagine what is said on the ice. Well, a defenseman on the Saginaw Spirit in the second round of the OHL playoffs told Landon Sim, "Hey, buddy, I'm going to come after your injured shoulder." He's carrying a shoulder injury. Landon Sim replies, "You won't come after my shoulder because you're too much of a pussy."
oh my
Landon
god,
Sim got suspended 5 games for calling this defenseman a pussy.
yeah,
Are you serious? Are you serious? The OHL said that it was against their bullying and diversity inclusion program or something. And I am usually in favor of these things. Like, I'm definitely more in favor of these things. But dude, you can't call a guy a pussy on the ice anymore. You're gonna get a 5 gamer dropped on your head for calling a kid a pussy? Are you kidding me?
it's probably
I'm
happened
just
so many times.
I'm another OHL executive I was reading an article said that you're gonna have to start handing out 30-game suspensions based off what people are saying on the ice if you're gonna give 5 gamers for calling someone a pussy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so this kid plays for the host city. You said.
No, if he plays for London. So
Oh, okay.
the host city was the team with the defenseman on the team
Oh, okay.
that bitched. So they're gonna end up playing each other again in this little round robin they got going on for the
Yeah,
Memorial
yeah,
Cup.
yeah.
Dude,
Wednesday the
I'm
29th.
I'm just more flabbergasted that a kid got suspended for 5 games for saying that. Like, what is going on? Like, why?
Well, I mean, that's the whole tournament basically.
Well, it was the second round, so he's good. He's good now.
Oh, okay, okay. So he's
He's
back
good.
now.
Yeah, he
Okay,
he
all right.
just he missed out on the fourth game of the second round, and he missed out on the sweep in their next round. So he's good for
Sweet.
the Memorial Cup. But it's like, dude, what are we doing here? Why on earth are we suspending kids for minor shit talk?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens in that game then, if those
Right.
kids go at it or not.
That'd be kind of sick. I mean, I feel like the kid owes Landon Sim a fight because he got him sussied for, in my opinion, what is like a huge nothing burger.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I mean, I'm with you there, but that also just is the Mem Cup also just available in Canada? Like it's probably not
It's on
broadcasted.
it's on NHL Network.
Oh yeah, I can't. I don't get
I
NHL
know, I
networks.
know. Or you can just be me and just find websites.
Yeah, I probably maybe I will. Yeah, I'll
It's
probably
fun, dude.
tune
It's
in for
fun
that.
hockey.
Yeah, I
I'll
feel
throw it
like
on.
watching the Memorial Cup a little bit for sure. It's such a cool thing.
Right.
So
I wish we had a junior team. I mean, the closest team to us is the Niagara. What are they called? What are they called? Ice Dogs. That's the closest OHL team to us, but it's on the other side of the border. And then
yeah,
you got the Erie Otters in Pennsylvania. So like those are the
yeah,
two
yeah, yeah,
closest OHL teams to us.
yeah, yeah. All right, man.
I gotta
You
I
want to do
gotta
your
bring up my
goofball, and then
goofballs.
we'll
I
head out.
got two goofballs today for you guys. And
I did not bring a goofball this week.
my goofball this week, my number one goofball is Antonio Brown because he just announced like bankruptcy. The guy made like 80 million in his career, and he's bankrupt. Just unbelievable. The guy, Vontez Perfect, really like ended his like life. Like I feel like his normal
Oh my
life
god.
with that hit over the middle. Like, poor guy. I really hope he just like, you know, turns it around somehow. But he's such a clown. I don't think he's gonna. And then, dude, this story. And I'm a big soccer guy. You're a big soccer guy. You root for a shit club. I root for a team that's good. Um, I'm an Arsenal fan. You're a Spurs fan. Um, so this player for West Ham, Lucas Paqueta, he's really good. Like he's really good. He's been like a transfer target of like bigger teams like your team and my team and City and United for a couple years now. Dude, he's about to have like at least a year suspension put on him. The way I understand it is that the league found out that 4 times this year he intentionally tried to get a yellow card because he bet on himself to get a yellow card.
Oh my gosh, Jesus, that's
He
like a
is
P Rose. That's like
so
P Rose.
He is so fucked, dude. And
Yeah.
like betting in the Premier League and like actually soccer worldwide, there's been like 3 different scandals in the past year about
Hmm.
betting. Like there was a player he was supposed to play for Newcastle this year, but he was playing for Juventus last year. Sandro Tonali. He literally was betting on his team to win games, and he got suspended for a year. And then there's another player, Brentford striker. I can't think of the name right now. Ivan Toney. He was betting on his team to win games, and he got suspended for 6 months. It's like,
Jeez.
dude, why are soccer players betting on themselves and shit? It's insane.
So we got the Pinto parlays, and now we got the Paqueta parlays.
Oh, dude, that makes so much sense. I love it. And honestly, Manchester City was super interested in him, and Manchester City is a fucking horrible club, and I hate them, and I want them to get liquidated. So this just they've already got 115 charges. Let's just add another one on them. Another one of their future players is just going to get
Oh yeah.
suspended. So
But they like own the EPL, so like
pretty much
whatever.
because it's fucking boring. Because it's the new French league. Like they've won 4 years in a row. It's boring.
All right, I just thought of a goofball real quick before we head out.
Okay, what's your goofball?
All right, my goofball is the cop that apparently
Oh, oh,
said he dragged
yes.
Scotty Scheffler from the vehicle because footage was released today.
Did you
That
see it? Did you watch it?
yeah, I watched it. They did nothing.
Nothing happened.
He literally was
I'm
just
not even gonna
turning
say.
left.
I'm not gonna say what I want to say because I'm gonna remain neutral here. But
Yeah,
that
no,
guy, oh, Dallas just hit the post. That
ridiculous.
guy is a fucking clown. And you know what's funny, dude? I saw like he said in the police report that like his pants were damaged, and like everyone online was like, he shit his pants. He shit his pants.
I'm with that. So that guy's a goofball. I am 100% with Rive. I was listening to after the whistle this week, and Rive made a good point about Scheffler being arrested and all this and whatnot, and how he probably hates it. And I agree with him.
Dude,
When you look back,
I actually have a rebuttal against this, but I'll tell you why after. Let me make
well,
your point.
when you look back at like the weekend, because Scheffler's such a like it's like a known thing. Like he's like a religious dude. Like he just had his baby.
Yep.
He's like a good guy. He's known to be a good guy, right? So and you look back at the weekend, he's a big favorite coming in. The dude's won like the last like 4 tournaments he's been in. He's just mowing over people, right? So comes out on Thursday, shoots like a 4 under. This happens on Friday morning, still comes out and shoots like a 5 under.
That shit's
You
insane that he did that. He
you
said he
gotta
was
just have
stretching.
adrenaline,
He
like
said he was stretching in the jail cell.
yeah. And so you gotta have just adrenaline, right? And then if you watched, I was so excited. Like Scheffler to me is like in a way he's the new Tiger Woods. Like I legit was tuning in on Saturday, like to watch him. Like
Yeah, yeah.
and even from the start, like he pulled like a driver right away. Like he was way off, and you could just tell. Like, and he hasn't looked like that in forever. He is money with his clubs, driver, short irons, doesn't matter what putter. He's been absolutely dialed in, and he looked so off. And I'm just thinking, he sat on that for a day, and it got to him. Of course, I mean those images are going to be out there forever, of and this is all stuff Hervé talked about, and just listening to him, like this makes total sense, like no one likes that, and maybe he is going to gain some freedom or some fandom from that, and be even bigger
Yep.
than he was before, but. If you asked him, I'd say he wouldn't have wanted that. He doesn't need that. He's already the biggest guy out there. He like what more does he need? The guy makes $4 billion every weekend. It's like
Right.
I don't know. I just feel like you can look at that tournament and just tell like he was locked in, and then it just kind of collapsed a little bit for him. I think he still ended up finishing in ninth, but yeah, it's just kind of horrible that happened like at the PGA Championship. Like, come on.
I know. Another thing is like someone did lose their life there. Like it did happen, so I feel like that's kind of being forgot about as well, and it's really sad like what happened, but that police officer's a joke. And Xander Schauffele said in an interview recently that he's got a group chat with like his physio and Scheffler and like a bunch of other golfers and stuff and like their physios. And they, as soon as it happened, they changed the picture of the group chat to Scheffler's fucking photo.
See, that's what I'm saying, man.
It's
And
so funny.
I bet it bothers him. I bet it does.
I don't know. It probably does, but like he's gonna play it off like that it's funny because like
Yeah.
that's kind of just what like we do. Because I'm not gonna lie, if I got arrested and you sent me my photo in my orange jumpsuit every day, I'd probably be like, haha, that's funny, and then I would go tell my wife how much I think you're an asshole.
Well, and like for him, I'm sure like he can laugh it off to a degree because like he literally didn't do anything wrong, unless there's like some
Right.
other camera angle that we're all not seeing. Like it just clearly looks like this was just like a misleading report or whatnot. But like so because he didn't do anything wrong, like at the end of the day, like I'm sure it's just gonna go away. Like it is what it is. But it's still just unfortunate, man. But yeah, that's my goofball of the week. I'm glad I remembered because I wanted to kind of air that out a little bit.
I mean, the story was crazy. Like you said, it was like the new Tiger Woods. It was nuts.
Yeah, it is. It is crazy. It is crazy. Scheffler's a dog though, so shout out to him. But all right, that's gonna do it.
Yeah, dude, our longest podcast ever, and my comfiest podcast ever. I'm not even gonna move for the next until this game's over.
I'm telling you, dude. To me, it looks like you got the polo on. You've been bringing the mic to your mouth. I don't know.
Yeah,
Like
it
you're
looks
probably
great.
gonna have higher volume this episode. We'll see how that works.
I know I'm fucking yelling in people's ears.
But no, I liked it, man. You look cozy. You look locked in. You look like a work from home Sabres Spotlight reporter. I like it.
Let's go. And let's do it. This was a great episode again. Like I definitely wanted to get some content out there, and we went a little long, so we do it
Yeah,
for the people.
I'll be out this weekend. I'm going camping with the fam. You got Memorial Day weekend plans or no?
Yeah, I'm watching your dog.
Oh, shout out to you guys for taking
Yeah.
Bell. That's right.
Okay. Quick story. Quick story before we sign off. Last time we were supposed to watch your dog, I hurt my shoulder, so I kind of like incapacitated. I couldn't climb anything, obviously, if your shoulder pops
I
out.
don't know if
So
incapacitated is the right word.
I'm exaggerating. I'm exaggerating, but I popped my shoulder out, so I wasn't ready to climb anything. My wife goes to pick up his dog. Oh no, the door is locked. Oh God. So we can't get in the house. I say I'm gonna climb over the fence. Long story short, your dad comes and unlocks the door because he's a great gentleman and
Yeah,
climbs over the fence like a beast, that the beast that he is. This time, you're not even leaving until tomorrow. You text me in our group chat early today, the door's unlocked. So that's
yeah.
some elite preparation from you. I gotta shout you
Yep.
out.
Oh yeah. Yep. I'm getting ready, but yeah, no, it'll be fun. So Belle loves going there, so that'll be good, and I'm looking forward to getting away with the family this weekend. The weather's supposed to be good. One more shout out to the troops before we go. Thank you for all you do. Yep. Salute to you guys, and we will of course see everybody in the next episode. Take care.
Bye.